that is the medical aspect. And this is coming from, say, Gumi, revealing 3 things causing insecurity in Nigeria. And I know somebody will say, number 1, poverty. Then, like I said, veterans in the studio already, in the newsroom already to do justice to those topics. You see that you know that Nigerians have been with insecurity for so long. And I know somebody out there will be asking, when are you going to be free from this violence and this insecurity that has been with the country? Small letter.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. We promised to be here last week.
We thank God.
We are here.
We appreciate God.
Thank God. Merry Christmas.
God bless you, sir. And like I see this car, sorry, it's already passing the message. We are already in the...
There's no, this is what we call in athletics, home stretch.
Yes,
in the relay race, when you run the first, the second, the third, the anchor leg straight, because there's no weekend.
There's no weekend.
The weekend that will come is Christmas.
We pray we'll celebrate more in good health. It's a very good lot of us.
We're in the season. And that's why my friends
Are you reviving your brother's car?
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. And the justice you do reflect when you are mentioning his name.
Okay. And you know much about it than I do.
Right hand back.
I know you know much than I do. So
thank God for bringing us
long to the season.
And we thank God that you are here again. You're going to be here in good health. Land of Father.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. Merry Christmas in advance to our viewers.
Yes, Merry Christmas. And I'm planning from you. Potential flashpoints in the country. Cause for concern?
Potential flashpoints in the country. I would rather say where are the few places that are not flashpoint prone to insecurity, to violence.
You said few.
Yes, when you say potential flashpoints, I think we have fewer of that than those places that are safer. Okay. But as a matter of fact, out of 36 states in Nigeria today, yes, when informations, as they call it from agencies and envoys come, they talk about those hot spots, but in every part of Nigeria, you see traces of banditry, kidnapping, in most states. But you cannot compare some places to others. But so long as it's prevalent in every area, it's like, if you look at it, Abuja itself, the capital, is not safe. So flashpoints are increasing by the day. The more poverty is entrenched in the system, in the polity, the more you see such activities. So if the government is not addressing poverty seriously, then most states of Nigeria should be considered as flashpoints.
Okay. So look at, let's take it from where like just talked. This we got 176,846 polling units, 84 million registered voters. It's safety of the voters, just like I just said. But it seems some states are more pronounced.
Yeah, I think as things are now, when you're talking about flashpoints, you're talking about election particularly. And most of the states in the Federation today have been having space of insecurity. Some are more pronounced than the others, like we say, but as election time draws nearer, we are likely to go to find more, especially since we've been having attacks on INEC offices growing more and more by the day now. We are about to have some people who will say no. In fact, people have said that they are not likely to have elections in the East, and they want to do everything possible to make sure that elections will not hold there. And there are some places, things that are beginning to happen towards election now. The spate of kidnapping, if you look at the indices now, is beginning to rise. because they know that security men will be all over the place, and so they are also prepared. And so when the IG says that we have flashpoints, I think Nigeria itself is a flashpoint. Nigeria itself is a flashpoint. So more jobs will have to be done now by the security forces. And I've been saying before that soldiers have no business in election conduct. But as things are now, I don't see why soldiers will not come, why other security agencies will not come. All of them combined together. These people who are bringing problems to Nigeria are not just ordinary people that will just know where they move to. What's their next action? They do it clandestinely, so it will be difficult, even with all the security apparatus that we have, to locate, to know where the next thing is going on. So a lot of job has to be done, not only by security forces, but even by citizens. And a lot of people are going to be wary of wanting to come out. That's what they want to create, the fear of people to come out. That's what they want to create. And I'm hoping that things will get better.
Okay, Smollett, I'm with you. Let's look at these how do I describe it now? A kind of analysis already made. We talk of attacks on net facilities. IMU 11, our own Osun, even 7 incidences in Osun. Enugu Akwebon 5, Abia Cross River 2, Anambra Taraba 2, Bayelsa Ondo Lagos, Borno, Kaduna, Ogun State 2 each. That's about 10 states. You see it being enough to disturb electioneering. Although they are tagged flashpoints.
Yeah, well, I don't see, some of them are not flashpoints as far as I'm concerned. They are
pockets of
some rascals who have a feeling that they are doing it in some states. Let's also do it. It's a sensitization process, but government must not, or the security officials must not take it or them for any lightly. Osun is generally a calm place, but where I have fear for where I would consider the flashpoints must be those new areas where the PDP appears to have a division. 5, the integrity governors, their states, the security people must be very careful with them. You have to be extra vigilant in River State. You have to be so in Benue State. You have to be relatively, not quite. The people of Southwest, many of these things they don't stick their neck. So you see, before the elections are held, you see the people of Ibadan and the environment would have looked at what could be done, because they have their stake. They don't seem to be going along or getting along with their governor's position. So that may not be a flashpoint. But then in Abia and places like that, already the southeast is no longer a potential. It is really a flashpoint. That because of the challenge being posed by IPOB. And then the Anambra is also a potential, a place that you have to watch. This is a place that they can zoom in and go and carry newly born children there. So an average Igbo man back home is I'm using this word very adversely. I don't want to use the word that people will quote me for, but that's not what I mean. But an average woman back home is an aggressive person. They are very aggressive, and so one has to be very careful with them. The moment there is a dichotomy, you take it from this, even their slogan, Imba, they come with a tendency to be very forceful. So those are the areas that I see, and a few those are areas that security operatives must be very, very vigilant.
Incidentally, let's take the prediction as well as on G5. Incidentally, and maybe fortunately, the 5 states are among flashpoints. I have Rivers, one of the or even Oyo, that we might think, even Benue,
Yes.
and of course Abia and Enugu are states that are already designated as flashpoints.
You have to add, where
Abia,
Soludo, where Soludo is.
Anambra.
Yes, you have to add.
Oyo in that
Axis.
I think it's not really supposed to be.
Okay.
Well, Oyo is part of the G5.
Even with the URW issue that has used to live for some time.
No, the URW is what happens everywhere in the southwest.
But
You have made them overlords of so many things.
Okay,
You see,
election period.
well, yes, election-wise, what happens is that when it's time for election, the upper hand is always with the sitting government.
Okay.
So it is when the opposition, like when Seyi Makinde was to upstage Ajimobi, that crisis festers a lot.
Okay.
But the moment you see the incumbent, he has kept them over time, oiled them. You see, the oiling of that machinery is what creates crisis. But if that oiling has been a constant one for a sitting governor, for you to come and try to use brute force against that person is going to be difficult. One, he has the force of law because he's the chief security officer, and he has the strict credibility with those miscreants or whatever name you give to it, because it's not normal. In normal times, it shouldn't be happening. So, but you discover some of these people operate something that is strange. So in some states, they have income of about $1 billion in a month. So you know what people can do with $1 billion, untaxed income. So as it were, for your state, you won't consider your state like Imo.
Okay.
You won't look at your state like Anambra.
Okay.
You won't look at your state like some of these other states. Benue is on a daily. Kaduna State is supposed to be part of it. It's not part of G5, but it's part of the flashpoint.
Not West. It is.
Yeah. So as you see, it is the management of security issues by the governors in those states that determine a lot. However, for places like Benue, I still want to believe that INEC must come clean about a few states in Nigeria. Because in 2019, it was strange that INEC came with huge figures in places that you even know majority of its community members are fled or probably in IDP camps.
Okay.
So that's something you have to look at. And coming from even some clerics in the north, they have charged INEC to be honest, sincere, and midwife a credible election.
Sir, look at Northwest. I'm with you, sir. Look at Northwest, 22.6 million voters. And we are talking of Katsina, Kaduna, Sokoto, Zamfara. Is it enough to be a flashpoint? Is it because of the voting strength?
In fact, not the voting trend.
Okay.
The voting trends that don't make a place a flashpoint. It is the activities that happen in those states, in that area.
20 million voters?
Yes, voters do not make any flashpoints.
Okay.
The flashpoint is what happens in those areas.
Perhaps
Like
the
banditry, kidnapping, insurgency.
perhaps the activities of the politicians who want to.
Because of the votes, they want to garner from there.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. But then even they want to garner votes from there. If you don't have such things like banditry, like insurgency and things like that there, it will be a flashpoint.
Okay.
They still can go there. Yes, they want to cause confusion, though, some little pockets of confusion here and there.
Okay.
But that would still be enough. That would be containable by the law enforcement agencies. But when you have, in addition, all these things I've mentioned, banditry, kidnapping, and things like that, then it becomes a real flashpoint.
Okay.
Because then it becomes very difficult. And let me just tell you one thing. We are talking about those places that we know, those places that we see things happening there now. But these people are capable, those people who might want to say, we don't want this election to go, they can be anywhere. What they need to do is to also fix themselves before the elections. And if they know that the authorities are in the particular, the law enforcement agencies are in a particular area, they just move to an area where they know this force will not be there. And they cause wahala. And when those things start happening, then you have a bomb scare here, a bomb scare there, a grenade there, and things like that. Then the flash point will now become less flashy than this area that you never thought of. So the law enforcement agencies should be ready for a kind of how would I put it now? A kind of non-conventional flashpoints. Where people just wake up and create wahala, and it becomes a flashpoint immediately. And so they should be ready all over the federation, not just concentrating themselves in a particular area. When they know these people can easily move before election to a particular area to go and station themselves to cause their problems. So that's why we must be very careful about it.
Small, I have these statistics for you. In 1999, we had 6 general elections. 80 people were killed. 2023, 100 lives were lost. 2007, 300 persons lost their lives. 2011, 800 persons were killed. 2015, 100. 2019, 145. You see us getting it when you look at earlier figures of those who lost their lives, and when you look at 2015, 2019, 2019, 145, 2015, 100. Compare with 2011, 800, 2007, 300%.
You have the figure for 2019, the last one we had.
145.
145. I think it came down. Yeah, but you see, the Nigeria.
And look at the activities of the security agencies. Is it all full task education? Which
voter education is necessary.
Okay.
It is necessary, but it isn't as if people don't listen here. Voter education. They understand, they know these things, but it's a question of personal interest.
Okay.
So the average man who has been voting for 3-4 consecutive times knows what he's supposed to do. But these young men, they rent them, and they are special. The politicians hold meetings with them and tell them what to do. So they are very intentional about it, and they are very deliberate. So when you say this, statistics don't come to work in circumstances like this.
But this we just have that we all believe because it's a Tony Blair Institute thing now. Now that because it came down from what we used to have.
Well, let's see another election. We have only seen one. We don't pray for it, and of course the average young man or woman today, particularly young, he doesn't want to die because he knows. But the ones who call talks, political talks, those ones, that's their work, that's their nature, and the politicians understand them. They bring them in a do me or do you form because they know that the opposition party or the opposing party, let me use the word opposing party will also prepare himself for a scenario like that. So it is machete for machete, dollar for dollar, naira for naira. So that is what causes it. It is not as if people don't listen, but these guys who undergo it, what's their education? They are very infinitesimal, but they can cause havoc. The young man who has gone to the university and come back will ordinarily not take up arms. But those who never went, never couldn't do, you find a few of them falling mistakenly. But the average enfant terrible of our politics today, they are not graduates, they are not young. When you see them, you know, because we see them. When you see them, they have some men that will tell you have the way they dress, the way they go about it, no, the way they drink. So it goes a long way. So it is a question of interest. If the politicians can reduce these numbers of the people they go on to hire for this havoc or hatchet job, the statistics will come down.
Yes.
Now, you see, we have to be very careful here when we're talking about this soldier hunts. Let me call them soldier hunts now. See, what they do, there are about 3 categories of them. There are some who go there and cause trouble because of the money they take from politicians. There are some who go there to retaliate against people who want to cause problem. There's a third force that will just go there because of what they want to earn from Nobody's hiring them. There's many of them around. They just go there, they go and cause trouble, and they go and tell the politician after cause trouble that, look, it's because of you that will cause this. So, get us something. They are not being hired. So there's these three categories of people. So we must warn our youth now that whatever the case may be, don't go ahead and say you want to go and retaliate when you have some thugs in the place causing havoc. Leave that job to the law enforcement agents. And to those people who, the other ones who want to go there, to go and cause for us, to go and gain some money, they should also be aware that these men who are law enforcement agents are on ground. Then another thing that matters a lot is this. No matter what happens right now, if you don't have credibility in our elections, you still have these pockets of violence all over. If you don't have credibility in INEC, that INEC is going to do a good job. But now that we need to have that credibility, maybe that's why the number of those who died
It goes in 2015 and 2019.
Yeah, because they now believe that okay, INEC is going to INEC can do a good job.
Maybe most with the recent technology
reports that we have. So they want to sit back and say, okay, now we can sit back and say, okay, INEC is going to do a good job with us. But once they don't have that, and they think that INEC is going to be fraudulent, that will be wahala. So we must be very aware of that, and we must be very much prepared for that kind of thing.
Larry, let's look at, we often comment about the social media. But the impact of social media, either objectively or subjectively, in terms of inciting rhetorics, hate speech, fake news. Somebody just okay, ballet, they are already killing. And I will say, okay, along Otefun, some people have been macheted. And when you just discover that it's nothing but fake news. And there are so many. I don't know what's happened.
It's, you see, the world is progressing in its own way. And it's not only
positively or negatively.
It's not only in Nigeria.
Okay.
Now, there might be a way of regulating social media,
okay,
but it remains the digital source of information that is like travels as fast as light. From all over the world. If something happens in a minute, the next second after the incident, you can see it everywhere, in rooms, in offices, in cars, all on your phone or devices that you have. So we cannot exclude Nigeria from that digital innovation that is ruling the world. However, in terms of regulation, we now can structure it. In some nations, it might be autocratic. They control it. You can't even watch television in some places. It's iron curtain, it's all the rest. But it's in a free world, it should happen, but there must be laws around it. But a situation where those who make laws do not respect their own institutions enough to obey the laws they have made, you cannot control young people from also doing their own thing. Because we see a lot of recklessness on the part of people who are supposed to even maintain the law. Strong institutions, we keep advocating it. When you have it, then whoever does anything, you know, there's a law that, look, if you're an admin in a group on social media and somebody commits and posts wrong information on your group, you are liable. So admins are more careful, and it's encouraged on a daily that people should engage those who are technologically savvy enough to know what to do immediately there's something like that coming up on your platform. But on individual levels, some people have been charged and reprimanded for doing wrong things on the social media. So it could be possible, but then it remains that which gives information real time that tells people what is going on. So when people try to shield or cover stuff, you'll discover almost immediately that the whole world is aware of it. So you either defend yourself or cover up your tracks as much as you can. So it's good. Social media is still good. Whatever the excesses is controllable by systems where institutions work.
Last tip for this topic. We are speaking about, we seem to be addressing inter-party squabbles, tolerance of aspirants, especially when you talk of I won the primaries of the party's primary, and it's of recent, even the intra-party thing seems to.
Yeah, and the
is it not also a threat?
Judiciary too is contributing.
Okay. You don't see that being even a threat to.
It is.
Okay.
But then I'm saying the judiciary is contributing to.
Okay.
You see, I believe in a situation in which, when the selection or election or appointment or whatever it is, when the party finishes, it should be. But we agree that we have human rights.
Even when somebody
was
unpicked, instead of election,
you should. That's why I will succumb to things like that.
Okay.
They need to go to the courts. But the courts will also sit on this matter a long time. Up to now, there are certain areas.
certain states where the issue of provider has not been resolved.
Yes.
So what? And just barely 60 days to election.
So what are we doing? I think you see, sometimes I'm not saying forget about legalities, but be more proactive and pragmatic about it. Things like that also constitute nuisance within the political framework. So it is the politicians who, you see, again, when you look at it from top to the bottom, it is this ego thing. I am supposed to be the winner. If you think you're supposed to be the winner and they didn't vote you, what's the other people's business about it? Politicians must sit down and know that these things are games. When you play your game fast away, you can they know it better. It is scheming. You have to scheme. But if you are scheming, you must come to equity with claimants.
Okay. So yeah, one of these factors is even our own Lagos. And
you are from Osun State.
When I mean our own Lagos, I'm talking about Southwest. I'm talking about our geopolitical and the Black will say the Igbo in Lagos versus Yoruba in Lagos, and the Okota, Festac, Amwodofin, Ladipo, Ikeja, Oshudiselo had those.
Dagbadi area too.
Okay.
I know what I'm talking about. You see, let's face the real facts. We tend to hide things, and there's no need for, if you want to get the real positivity out of this election, you must not hide things. What some people have turned Lagos to be a no man's land is what's causing that problem.
Okay.
You see, you cannot go to Imo State now, for instance, as a Yoruba man, and cut an empire for yourself there. It's not possible. So why don't we let this who own the land? Who owns Papa's land? Who owns Papa's land? Let this who own the land, who are there, who are some of the soil, let them hold farm to their land. Don't come and dictate to them because you are having some economic ventures on their land. It's not, you can't do on your own land, don't do on another man's land. And that's exactly what's causing all this wahala in Lagos. Because almost everybody believes, almost all of the Igbos in Lagos will tell you that Lagos is a no man's land. It's a no man's land. Because Lagos is it's a port, it's a seaport, it's a good economic, it has good economic environment. So people rush from south, from the north, from the Midwest, from the south, from southeast to that Lagos. Yes, it's a melting point for all people. So, but even if it's a melting point, for crying out loud, you can't go to Port Harcourt now. For instance, I've been to Port Harcourt. You cannot go to Port Harcourt and say you want to establish yourself as a Yoruba Muslim. No, you still give a presence to those who own the land there, and that's the culture. Obey the culture of a place, of a particular area where you live, and that there will be no problems there. But since I'm in Lagos right now, all right, some Igbos are going to the assembly in Lagos. Of course, so there's a holding a political office in Lagos. So if you can go to the sense of having that in Lagos, I think you should let peace reign there.
Lani, I want your last take, and that has to do with the sit-at-home thing in Southeast, Ebonyi, Enugu, Abia, Anambra, just like somebody said, Aniwu. Election.
The sit-at-home thing, it's unfortunate and strange that it has continued to fester in that place, and it looks like not stopping. And that's part of the dangers of not just flashpoints, the probability of a real election in 2023. A lot of pressure groups and individuals from other climes have attempted sublimely, openly, to tell Ohanes Ndigbo the implications of it against the nation. If it's going to be a change by election, allow it to happen. But the way it's going, I don't think that one is planning to end anytime soon.
Okay.
Because the leaders of those who are calling for the seat at home have not openly come out 100% to say, look, this is where we are going in this direction. When people say, oh, so and so person has spoken, another person will speak from another corner to still say it continues. So the people don't know who to believe. And the people are aware that those people who make the threat that you should stay at home are not joking about it.
Okay, shall we go to the second topic? And I am starting from you. After doctors, massive of teachers, another brain drain?
I think you should state this clearly.
Okay.
Brain drain of the doctors, there was a cause for it. Because they no longer find their jobs being lucrative in Nigeria. And even where they have good jobs in Nigeria, you know the facilities to work with.
And you can say the same of the teachers, now moving out?
The teachers are quite different.
Okay.
That's why I said must situate things.
Okay.
Now, are we talking about lecturers? Are we talking about teachers in primary or in secondary schools? So these are the kind of things we must lay out clearly. I cannot see Britain calling for example, teachers in primary schools to come and teach in Britain. I think Britain is not being very clear about it. It is when you now want to go that you know where you stand. If you go to, let's be very candid, go to our primary schools today, our public primary schools. You see what happens there. You see teachers sending people on errands during school hours, telling them to do menial jobs like they are told. Try to get a little go and prepare this ready for me. This is therefore go and send them to go and buy things. Then class.
And melon.
Melon, yes, in classes. So these are the kind of things you cannot expect such teachers to know how to go to Britain to look. If you go to Britain, for example, to go and work, let me don't talk about teachers alone. You work for your money. You work very hard. Okay? And if you cannot work very hard and swear for the money you're earning, you don't get the money. You get sacked. And the teachers say, I just say, gota. You just believe that for trying to see that the salary is there. The things are in the month. So we must take things clearly for lecturers who are also teachers too. I think they're welcome over there. If you're able to work very hard, you're welcome. For teachers, if you're able to work very hard, you're welcome. But if you're not able to work very hard, there's no place for you.
Small, we even underrate our education. Education is falling. Standard of education. You see that call by the UK asking Nigerian teachers along with some other countries coming. Is our education being dictated?
Yes, it doesn't. You see, standards have fallen. We have to first accept that.
Okay.
Because these ones who will be employed, when they get there, they'll still take them through some tutorials and training. But in those days, much earlier, 40 years ago and things like that, it was more direct. But the blame again will have to come to government. You have your industry, you let it lie fallow. If you have a farm and it is bushy, any hunter can come in. We have not really made these teachers qualify to the level that we want them to. What is the budget that we spend for education every year? It is pittance.
Not up to 20%.
It is pittance. But education is not something that only government can run. So allow the teachers, I mean the private sector, to also run, but let your own too be at least up to some standard. We have the numbers, and that's what UK and Co are holding on to. No matter what, they will know a figure they want. If it is 10,000, by the time they get it, they stop. If it is 20,000 teachers they want, they will get it and they stop. You see, government, very unfortunately, it appears it is happy that these things are taking place because the pressure will no longer be on it. Because by the time 20,000 teachers leave here, the pressure is reduced. But in the long run, it's a consequence. There is a consequence for any action, either taken or not taken. There is consequence for you being silent. And this is what government must take. It is going to boomerang onto us someday because these people will go and then they don't want to come back again. If they must come back again, I tell you, any young man who goes now, unless he doesn't go in by correct through correct purpose, he's not going to think of coming home in the next 10 years.
Let me.
So how do we profit from them? So it is government that must do this thing. They must be more serious about it. Pump some money in education. Don't just say, oh, the boys are Japa, they are Japaing, and it suits you. No, the consequence in the next 5-10 years will be too disastrous for us.
Now let's take what is also about, since we're talking about training. But let me give you the statistics from the Teachers Council of Nigeria, TCN. That we have from the pool of 1.5 billion. Nigeria is in training 350,000 Nigerian teachers qualified. You see the training being a bit, or the country trying to be better in terms of that training, 350,000 out of 1.5 million.
Well, let's be clear about this. 350,000 certified teachers with certificates in education. So many others from the humanities, from sciences are teaching,
Yes.
but they are not professionals. And UK that is asking for them to come is not limiting it to higher school teachers with certification in education, because they know with a little training they can bring them to their own standard. Let's not also forget that Britain has exited from EU. EU was a pool of resource for teachers from all EU countries who are with them. Some must have been living in droves, and Nigeria is part of the Commonwealth of nation or Commonwealth. So definitely, if we are looking for Anglophone countries, Nigeria will be part of them. And they want them, at least basic thing is, the knowledge of English is what most of them certified to teach must have had in the first instance. So getting them to their own system, but the truth is, when you don't value what you have, others will, and they'll take it from you. And that's the truth of the matter. Now, tell me, who would not want to relocate to a nation where your security to a large extent is assured, where part of the security is even food? There is no teacher, and the teachers they have an income now, they have a teacher skill. But even at that, it is not enough.
Okay.
So definitely I don't see any, not too old teacher that will not want to take an advantage and try to see if you can go. And that tells a lot about the government we have. How committed to education is the government of today?
So I know you want to react, but let me I want to add this to the reaction of Chairman UT Lagos State, Akintoye Yazan. According to him, UK seems to be looking for cheap labor, and he said, yes, the truth is that Nigerian teachers are good and great, and they deserve commendation for performing under conditions that are not conducive. It is not that Nigerians are not good, their atmosphere is simply hostile.
Well, as a unionist, don't blame me for saying that.
Okay.
We always say that.
Okay.
To defend where against his money, against his people.
And you don't see UK being
No, when you're talking about cheap labor,
okay.
you have to compare what the Naira is to the sterling.
Okay.
And that's why you now see that it will be cheap labor for Nigerians. But for UK, it will be cheap labor.
Okay.
There, I agree. But let me just point this out to you two again. Most teachers that will be taken out of Nigeria today, like Larry said, qualified teachers. And that leaves us with the qualified ones, quacks that will be in the system. And those are the quacks I was talking about the other time. And they will not multiply in the system because some of them are going to be replaced. And you now start replicating quackery in the country. And so Nigeria must watch out. Britain too must watch out, because those people are taking over there after some time now, when they realize that, in fact, like in America too, most of the people who earn an average income in America, Nigerians stand shoulder high above other countries in their earnings, in their performances, and they will still go to Britain and do the same thing because they're going to pick people who are of good standard from this place, not just the quacks. And so, what we are left with here, how would the government who has not trained its teachers right now be able to train those people again? We are talking about 350 out of 1.5 million. If those 350 who have been well trained are taken out, now what is left for Nigeria to train again? You have to start training some others. That would be a minus on the Nigerian government. And that would not be too good.
So whose fault?
It's still the government fault.
Okay.
Yes, it's government fault. Because I see now, if you value what you have, and pick the ones that are good, and just not pump them into the system because of politics. But just say, this is my political brethren, let me get me unemployment. If you don't do that, things will have been standardized. But when you want to employ and keep employing people who are not even professionals, who are not qualified.
Sometimes
I know
you write the exam.
I want to last year, and I want to add to. We all castigated. Some of us all castigated Kaduna State Governor. Everyone was asking teachers to write exams, and we are talking of quacks.
You see, it's neither here nor there.
Okay.
Before him, the state governor, down to Shomole, had paraded a woman who couldn't even, forgetting that there are some people who become stage fright, who develop stage fright, and so a governor sitting beside him, and for him to be able to say, well, she might never be able to. But they were playing politics with some of these things. Look, the long and short of it is that the entire Nigerian nation has not had much respect for teachers, for teaching.
Shall we go to third topic?
And this is why my colleagues are saying it is going to serve as a brain drain. But as pointed out, we are going to suffer it even the more because out of the few that are not very, very good, they are going to migrate and go away. We are left with those who are the dregs. How did Awolowo call it many years ago?
As simple as those are the teachers that will teach engineers that want to build bridges for us, that will teach engineers that want to construct high-rise buildings. So when buildings come down, you know the foundation was faulty there.
So let me back to you for the last topic, and I'm do small reaction of Chiu Gumi. Three things causing insecurity in Nigeria, and he just mentioned is a polarized Nigeria along tribal, religious, and regional sentiments.
What sentiment? What's the last one?
Tribal, religious, and regional sentiments.
Regional sentiment. No, I don't even. Regional sentiment is out.
Okay.
I mean, tribal is okay.
Okay. Religious?
What? The two are not good. They are not good,
okay,
but they are there. It is our nation. He that is state, can he be very sincere to tell us those immediate aides of his who work with him? Where did he pick them from?
Okay.
Would he be sincere to tell us that? You see, we have been boxed to a corner by ourselves. So it is high time we started renegotiating our path. Every high officials, go to them, find out how many Nigerians from different ethnic groups is serving them, are serving them. We might not know. These honorable members, they are supposed to have how many? About 6. What do you call it? 3 over there in Abuja.
3.
How many in Abuja? Does one senator from, let's say, Lagos or Osun, or one from Abia? How many? Everybody goes back to their own people. Until we begin to know that quality doesn't come from your ethnic environment, until we come to know that quality does not come from your religion alone, we will continue to be going in a concentric circles as we have been going over the years. It is wrong, but what is causing lack of employment. It is all part of it. Because he cited two which I supported.
And you don't see the regional thing as being part of it?
The same thing, it is tribalism.
Okay.
Tribalism. You see, the man from Osun is not different from the man from Oyo. The man from Kaduna is not entirely different from the man from Katsina. They are all part of. They are northerners. Here they are southerners. If you determine to say you are picking only people from your ethnic area, the people who speak your language, you will never go anywhere.
Now, the Sheikh Gumi also spoke about inequality and poverty. Why some parents cannot educate their children. According to said, I'm putting now, parents are pinned down by poverty, hence they are unable to educate their children and adequate care. And I said, next government must be serious. This is where we are going. Next government must be serious. It should have no place for all deception. Nigeria needs a government that can sit, think, stand, and walk its talk.
Now, all those are virtues and qualities. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people have spoken and accused him of leaning towards some candidates in his position. Now, trust Sheikh Gumi, he will say his mind, not minding whose ox is God. In that interview he had with the Sunday Sun guy, he said he went to a school in Kaduna State where only 2 classrooms out of 8 had chairs for students to sit on. The remaining 6 classrooms, they sit on the floor. Now, that mindset, and he said, he kept saying, look, the way things are going, people don't tend to want to feel with the common man, and I cannot help the system. You first cause insecurity when you elongate people's poverty. So this time around, you'll be wondering, is not even speaking from the angle of a religious leader. He's believing so many other things should be looked into. That when you impoverish a people, you cannot expect them to behave normally. Because one, they will be faced with divergent necessities. They will start to look for a way to work and earn a living. If they cannot get, they resort to begging. After begging,
the evangelists.
Yes. So after they keep begging and they don't get, you now say evangelists are gone wild. You put your food on the table, they pick it. Will he die? Will he kill himself with hunger? And it's all eating. And that hunger won't kill you because you are still looking fresh. So you put the food in front and he will carry it because he has begged, he has looked for people to assist, he has not gotten any. Nobody will open his eyes and allow himself to die of hunger or poverty. So that's the way.
I want to say the last take time is against that statement from Sheikh Gumi. Nigeria needs a government that can sit, think, stand, and walk the talk. He now said any party that cannot protect its vote cannot protect Nigeria's interest.
Let me just say something. You see, when I hear about parties, I start asking myself, where are the parties in Nigeria? 6 and a half dozen, they are the same thing.
That political parties.
They are, as far as I'm concerned, they are not political parties. They are just groups of people loving themselves together. You see, political parties in Nigeria who have no ideology, that cannot stand it and say this party is going to do. I think Nigerians, as of today, must look for candidates, whichever party they belong to. Candidates that you know has an eye to have a good team. Candidates that you know have good heart to be to serve. These are the ones you should look for, not just political parties. Political parties in this country do not serve us very well. Let us look for candidates who say this candidate can vouch for this particular man. From his activities that he will do this, he will do this. Now go ahead and vote for that man and do well. And a leader alone cannot do it. You must have a good team. If you have a good team, then just one mission.
But this National Assembly, I buy your last take. I buy Sayer's view. You should cut across. But has the National Assembly, these 21, 22 years, supported that issue? They keep on preventing independent candidates. They deliberately do that.
No. I'm not talking about independent candidature. What I'm talking about
When you
is
bring that independent candidate,
no,
that's when you
independent. No. That man belongs to a particular political party. They just see this man, the entire party belongs to.
that's
That's what I'm talking about.
going to be very difficult for
Follow that. Is that going to
Yes.
follow that?
But you see, let us begin by introducing independent candidates. So that when I say, oh, somebody is here in Oshobo, he comes from Ife-Ijesha area, everybody knows that he's useful to the society.
Same is the case to us.
We elect him.
Yes, I have told you, audience, that Tuesdays, no go area for dollars. And that's why I'm always happy when on Tuesdays like this, our veterans are in the house. Landed.
Thanks for having me. Once again, I wish everybody a happy Christmas and a prosperous 2023.
As I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas ahead, I want to say again that you keep thanking God for everything that you
I will going to do that. Going to do that. Sorry.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It is not very likely we'll be here next week because it's a holiday.
and maybe for some time I will also be excused from the program. I need to.
What holiday?
I really need to.
26, 27 will be holiday, so you.
No, what's to say?
until tomorrow when we go to back in the newsroom.
Okay.
My name is not that. No. My leader is already talking. Bye bye and good.
Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round your virgin mother and child, holy Holy Sabinigwe. There is a melody in my heart unto you. Overflowing joy, overflowing praise. Daddy, daddy, all that you do is marvelous. Verily, verily, you are good, oh. Verily, 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 you are so verily. Oh, I am true. I join the angels to shout out your praise. Idima. Oh yeah.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Ọlọ́run àánú fún àánú tí ó tayọ nítorí pé nínú ìwé ènìyàn kò sí ẹni náà pẹ̀lú oore ọ̀fẹ́ rẹ̀ bí eré bí àwàdà ọdún náà ó tún yí lọ nìyẹn bí eré bí àwàdà oṣù tá wà ńbẹ̀ náà tún yí lọ nìyẹn pẹ̀lú oore ọ̀fẹ́ rẹ̀ ilé ní ẹ̀kẹta nínú oṣù yìí ó wá já sí wípé ó kù ètò ìkan ṣoṣo tó ṣẹ́kù nínú ọdún ta lẹni tó ṣe léyìí bí kò ṣe Ọlọ́run tó bá ṣe pé ènìyàn àti máa ṣèrègùn tó bá ṣe pé ènìyàn àti ní ká lọ mú igbá wá ká lọ mú àwo wá ṣùgbọ́n kò béèrè nǹkan kan lọ́wọ́ èmi lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin ìdí ọpẹ́ wa rèé o tá a fi máa gbéga tí a fi máa yìn ní gbogbo ìgbà mo tún kí wa fún àkọ́tún ètò yìí ètò Hope Alive ìrètí tó wà láàyè fún ti ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí nítorí pé òun náà ni ọba ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ó ní àárín ó ní òpin ó ní ohun gbogbo nínú ohun gbogbo òun náà ni a fi ìyìn tí a sì gbé orúkọ rẹ̀ ga gbogbo nǹkan Ọlọ́run gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ ètò yìí ẹ jẹ́ ká darapọ̀ lákòókò yìí káwa náà ká máa yìn ká máa júbà rẹ̀ fún àánú tí ó tayọ ṣé ẹ jẹ́ ká yí ara wa wò ṣé àkàìkà ìmọ̀ye ohun tí a ò béèrè tó ń ṣe fún wa lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ẹni báwo èmi ò mọye tí ìbá sàn fún afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń fẹ́ sí mú fẹ́ síta fún apá tí mò ń gbé sọ́tún gbé sósì ìrìn àjò mi ní èyí tó kéré èyí tó jìn fún ìpamọ́ rẹ̀ bí ó ṣe rí ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà fún ààbò rẹ̀ àti jẹ àti mu bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ó yé mi èyí náà ṣe ń rò tí ẹ wò pé láti January títí di òní tó jẹ́ December 20 kílẹ̀ ti dá ṣe kílẹ̀ ti dáwọ́lé ẹ lè ti kọ oríṣiríṣi sínú àkọsílẹ̀ yín máa ṣe lé ní January máa ṣe ní February títí àpò ẹ̀ tí ṣe kankan ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan mi fẹ́ fi dá lójú pé nítorí pé ẹ wà láyé ni o alààyè òun náà ló lè rò bí ẹ ṣe ń rò yẹ kí ni àwọn tí wọ́n ti wà ní mọ́ṣúárì kí ni wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe àwọn tó ti dẹni àkọlẹ̀bù kí làwọn fẹ́ ṣe a ò fi yọ̀ wọ́n o kákànlé tó fi mọ̀ wọ́n ní ẹni tí ó bá mọ núrò ló mọ̀ láti dúpẹ́ akíwá o ní ẹ̀kànnì yìí Ọ̀ṣun State Broadcasting Corporation Channel 32 ilé àwíyé òkè balẹ̀ ní ìlú Òṣogbo ẹ tó lè máa wò wá kétékété ní StarTime Channel 113 Free TV Channel 502 fún àwa tó jẹ́ ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ fún
gbogbo òṣìṣẹ́ pátápátá nílé iṣẹ́ yìí àwọn náà ni wọ́n mú ìkíni wá fún wa pé a kú palẹ̀mọ́ ọdún kérésìmesì yóò bá wa láyé yóò bá wa láyọ̀ yóò bá wa nínú ìdùnnú lórúkọ gbogbo àwọn lọ́gàálẹ́ka kọ̀ọ̀kan náà ni a mú ìkíni wá ní abẹ́ àkóso ọ̀gá pátápátá Alhaji Rasheed Bọ́lárànyí èmi engineer and elder ní Ìbíkúnlé òkèwà ọ̀ pé a kú ìmúra ọdún kérésìmesì àti ìmúrasílẹ̀ fún ọdún tuntun tí ó wà níwájú ayọ̀ àti àlàáfíà òun náà ni a ó fi ṣe èyí ní ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ fún yín láti ṣe alábàápàdé ètò yìí tí ẹ̀ sì wò ní ojú ìmọ̀ọ́máwòrán àwọn àfojúsùn wa lórí ètò Hope Alive ìrètí tó wà láàyè òun náà ni àfẹ́yànnàná yìí pé nínú àwùjọ wa àwọn tí a lè rí ìpèníjà àwọn kà ní ẹ̀yà ara pé bóyá àkùdé díẹ̀ wà ńbẹ̀ bóyá ojú apá etí àti ẹ̀yà ara mìíràn wọn ò kì í ṣe ẹni tí a lè kọ̀ sílẹ̀ wọn ò ṣe ẹni tí a lè dágun lásì wọn ò ṣe ẹni tí a lè wò yẹpẹrẹ tàbí ká fojú tẹ́ńbẹ́lú wọn bí kò ṣe ẹni tó yẹ ká ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún ká ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn tó tọ́ fún wọn ká gbé wọn lárugẹ ká ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn fún wọn níbi tí ó bá yẹ ká má dágun lásì wọn ká kó wọn mọ́ra ká ṣe ohun tó tọ́ sí wọn pẹ̀lúpẹ̀lú fún àwa náà tí à ń là kọjá ní ọ̀nà kan tàbí òmíràn pé èyí kọ́ ni òpin ẹ̀dá ìṣubú ẹ̀dá kọ́ ni òpin rẹ̀ bá òkú ìṣe òtán kí àwa náà ká má rò wípé òpin ti dé ká má ro ara wa pin àwọn onímọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ wọ́n ní ohun tó burú jù láyé ó ní pé kí èèyàn gangan fúnra ẹ̀ kó ro ara rẹ̀ pin eléyìí kì í ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ tí à ń sọ pẹ̀lú gbẹ̀fẹ́ tàbí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹnu lásán a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run fún àwọn iléeṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn fún wa láti kọ́ wa ní iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n sì gbé wá sí orí ètò Hope Alive kí làwọn iṣẹ́ yìí iṣẹ́ ibi tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe block industry ibi tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe irun lọ́ṣọ̀ọ́ ibi tí wọ́n ti ń rán yọ aṣọ ibi tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe bàtà tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe ojúlóge ilé ẹ̀kọ́ bíbélì tí kì í ṣe ọ̀kan tí kì í ṣe méjì àwọn náà darapọ̀ mọ́ wa láti kọ́ wa ní iṣẹ́ láì gba ohunkóhun ní ọwọ́ wa bákan náà fún àwọn mìíràn pé tí a rí tí wọ́n lè ní ìpèníjà nípa ìjàmbá tí wọ́n wà nílé ìwòsàn tí ó sì jẹ́ wípé tí wọ́n bá tẹ̀síwájú ìdánilójú wà wípé ó lè má tó kí wọ́n má gba ìwòsàn yẹn pé irú wọn náà a máa mú wọn wá sí ojú ìmóhùnmáwòrán fún àtìlẹ́yìn ẹ̀yin orí adé ọrùn ìlẹ̀kẹ̀ ẹlẹ́yinjú àánú ní pàtàkì jùlọ ní àkókò tí a wà yìí ní ẹ̀bá tiẹ̀ tó lè ṣe é pé láti lè wọ ẹnìkan ṣoṣo ní ilé ìwòsàn ní tó ń là kọjá ẹ ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn fún wọn inú Ọlọ́run á dùn sí lọ́pọ̀ jọjọ bákan náà a tún ní àwọn mìíràn tó jẹ́ pé nípa ìjàmbá wọ́n sọ pàdánù ẹ̀yà ara wọn Ọlọ́run sì jẹ́ kó mẹ́mi lọ wọ́n ti náwó ẹbí náírà ná ní báyìí àwọn náà fẹ́ padà sínú àwùjọ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ òòjọ́ wọn láti máa ṣe káràkátà abala yìí wọ́n nílò àtìlẹ́yìn wa wọ́n fẹ́ kí a gbé àwọn lárugẹ káwọn náà lè padà sínú àwùjọ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ káràkátà láti máa ṣe iṣẹ́ òòjọ́ wọn lọ a nílò àtìlẹ́yìn náà ní abala yìí kò tán síbẹ̀ o tó ní àwọn ènìyàn nínú wa tó jẹ́ wípé pẹ̀lú ìpèníjà yẹn Ọlọ́run ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ wọ́n sì lè lọ sí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ wọ́n kàdé ilé ìwé gíga wọ́n ní ìwé ẹ̀rí lọ́wọ́ wọ́n wá iṣẹ́ ní àkókò yìí gbogbo bí ẹ ṣe ń gbọ́ mi bóyá ẹ̀yin wà ní ipò àṣẹ àbí ẹ mọ àwọn tí a lè lọ bá ẹ bá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa inú wa dùn lọ́pọ̀ jọjọ. Ẹ lè pe ẹ̀rọ ìléwọ́ wa tí irú àǹfààní báyìí bá wà, ìyẹn 0032482360. Bákan náà a lè mọ̀ wípé bá òkú iṣẹ́ ò tán nínú àwùjọ wa, a máa ń mú àwọn ènìyàn wá tí wọ́n ń ṣe gudugudu méje yàyà mẹ́fà. A lè gbàgbé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tá a ti sọ yìí o, tàbí tá a máa ń sọ wípé kò sí nǹkan tí abarapá ń ṣe tákàndá ò lè ṣe jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. À ń mú wọn wá láti lè fi àfihàn wọn kí àwa náà ká lè rí i pé lótìtọ́ àti lódodo